Good morning, everybody. Hi, hi, hi. Happy Wednesday. And welcome to a Diamond Zone. And, you know, every time I hear this song, I just kind of smile. And, one of the key words in this song is always. And I think they say always 40 times in the song. Um, but one of the things that I want to stress before we go into the training is if we know, right, we call it another mountain, right? We always know we want it faster than it comes to us. And the uphill battle gets nauseating, right? But here's the thing, that uphill battle especially. The best part of this phrase is somebody's going to have to lose. And every day you have a decision, right? Every day. I don't care if your situation is good. I don't care if your situation is bad. I don't care if your situation changed. Really makes no difference. Okay? When somebody makes a decision to stop the journey, they lose. They lose. As long as you keep going, and we talk about this a lot on Success Zone. Okay? As long as you keep going, you can't lose. But here's the thing, that always thing gets in the way. That always thing gets in the way of us moving forward, because there's always problems, because you're dealing with people. And when you're dealing with people, right, you deal with fear and doubt. And when you deal with fear and doubt, you have to deal with your fear and doubt. And this is the vicious circle that all of us are in. And if we happen to be in a situation, right, that we know without a doubt is doing what it's supposed to do, now it's on who? It's on us. If you were dealing with a situation that was out of your control, even though, and I'm going to get into this in a second, even though we need to take personal responsibility always first, always. You know, Lisa and I looked at certain things along our journey, and what was in our control, what wasn't in our control. And this is where you just got to let it go. Because if you don't let it go, it will control you, it will eat you up, and it will spit you out. Because now you're hanging on to the negative. And you got to let the negative go. It's in the past. Okay? But the way you let it go is understand, right? I haven't quit. I'm just on my new journey, whatever that is. See, you see, everything's a spin. But then you look at your certain situation, some of us, and you go, well, hang on a second, I have urgency. Well, use that urgency, right? Use that urgency to keep moving forward. Okay, and when you look at what we do in our business, hang on one second here now. It's gonna be an uphill battle. Miley, no, Miley, no. No, bad Miley. Hang on. Okay, now hang on a second. Share. Okay, we're going here. Here we go. All right. So I'm from current slide. Can you see that, Alicia or Sonia? 7 Habits? Yes? Okay. All right. So there's a book out there, guys. You know, I'm a big proponent of a good reading and listening library. You know, the author is Stephen Covey, and the book is the seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Okay, I don't know if you guys have read it, but it's a go-to. It's a staple, just like Think and Grow Rich. And Stephen Covey, I actually have the Stephen Covey Success Planner, right? The daily planner. But anyway, there's 7 habits that everybody needs to embrace as they go out there and take their personal development journey. Let me switch that. Take their change journey. Because change comes at us a lot of different ways. It may just be you're looking for a new opportunity. Change could be you're looking for a new job, right? Change could be today I made my decision that I'm going to really work on me, right? From a physical standpoint. There's all different types of change, as we all know. But at the end of the day, these habits apply to anything in your life. And this is why motivational speakers, right, can go from city to city and not matter what the audience, who's in the audience, because this applies to everybody. And this is why I keep talking about it over and over again. When you learn these habits, you can insert whatever opportunity or whatever change you're going through. Because it's all about dealing with the number one enemy, and that's ourselves. Okay, it's always that. And when we go out there and we make these decisions, now we got to change that hypnotic rhythm, right, that we're accustomed to. And that's the biggest thing. Oh my gosh, I'm used to getting up every morning at 8 o'clock and eating breakfast at 8:15 and in the car at 9, and I have a 35-minute commute before I get to my job, and then that's laid all out, right? I get off at 6, right? I go home and it's the same routine. Well, you change that for anybody, right? And that becomes what? Uncomfortable. So the 7 habits, number one of the 7 habits that he talks about in detail in the book is being proactive. Being proactive. I'm always looking. I'm always open, right? But between stimulus and response in human being lies the power to choose. Okay, let me give you an example, right? I see a video. I do a 3-way call with somebody. I watch a presentation. Usually I'm stimulated. But my response becomes what? That becomes, right, my decision. My response to the stimulus. So as you know, right, most people are very reactive. So productivity then means that we are solely responsible for what happens in our lives. No fair blaming anyone or anything else. Well, Jeff, certain things are out of my control. Okay, yes, let it go. I understand all that. I get it. I totally get it. But at the end of the day, okay, I'm all about, okay, and this is the hard part, because, you know, I come from an upbringing that you look within yourself, but it's easy to blame. And most people will always take the easy way out. It's easy to blame. Why me? Oh my gosh, this is horrible. Okay, well, when you really look at it, okay, it doesn't really make a difference. Whatever happens, happens. And when I say no fair blaming, always look within yourself first. Always. Because I understand that there's many different opportunities out there. And to me, that's the good news. I mean, I was out to dinner last night. Lisa had this crazy bazaar at the house. She turned our house into a mall, okay, and had all these women here. As soon as I see that, I go, Jeff's checking out. So I went to the Strip to watch the World Series, and you know, Dodgers lost this first game, but that's okay. And I was with 2 people, and they kept talking about, right, how they're looking for their next home, right? I didn't elicit this. I was just asking questions, and they had all said, you know what? There's so many opportunities out there. Okay, how do you know which one? And then I was just walking through just different ideas of what I always look for. Number one thing I look for is leadership. And I tell you, I've been wrong on leadership a couple of times. Okay, so now who do I have to look to? I said the best leader you have to look at is yourself. Because these are guys that have been in the industry for a long period of time. Okay, I knew the one guy, he brought somebody else I didn't even know. And we weren't talking about any specific companies or any details and anything, but they said they're looking for their next home. And I said, well, what are you looking for? And they said, you know what? One guy said something very astute. He goes, you know what, Jeff, this may sound stupid, but I don't really care about the comp plan. He said, because most comp plans pay about the same, right? $1 is $1. It's just how they give you that dollar, right? At the end of the day, most comp plans will pay out between 45 and 52%. right? At the end of the day. And most companies will be, the established companies will pay out, okay, a little bit more because they have to pay out more of those bonuses that normally you can't touch in the beginning because they have an established company. And then he said, you know what? I really don't, I mean, the product, as long as there's a need for the product. So I knew that I was talking to somebody, okay, that had experience. And I just listened. I didn't say anything. He goes, and leadership, I've always led my own teams. So as long as the leadership is ethical, right, then I'm good. I'm going to be able to run my team based on the systems they give me that they want me to duplicate. I said, well, what's the biggest, what has been the biggest problem? He said, you know, tenure. Okay, you know, there's two choices. There's a startup. There's startups. He goes, I love startups if they make it through the first, right? We always say 18 to 24 months. You go, but an established company, right? They have their ups and downs. He said, but I'm being proactive and I'm really starting to look of what's out there. Because he said a job is not an option for me. It's just not an option. I rather struggle calling my own shots than going somewhere else, right, and being told what to do for a fraction of what I'm worth. He goes, maybe I'm addicted. He goes, but the skill set I've learned in the industry, I think he's been in the industry, you know, comparatively not that long, 12 to 13 years. He said, you know, what I've learned in the industry, I could take this skill set, and I talked about this the other day, and I know my value. But I'm going to be proactive. When I make my decision, my decision's my decision, and I have to live with it. So number one, just be proactive, guys, in whatever it is you do. If you're out there and you're working your company, remember, every decision you make really determines the paycheck at the end of the week. But that's one thing he did say. He goes, I have to make sure I'm with a company that pays weekly. Okay, I can't, the days of being paid monthly, I got to have weekly because that motivates people. Number two, begin with the end in mind. This is your long-term goals, right? And the analogy that Stephen Covey uses is imagine your funeral and listen. Imagine your funeral and listen to what you would like the eulogist to say about you. This should reveal exactly what matters most to you in your life. Use this frame of reference to make all your day-to-day decisions so that you are working towards your most meaningful life goals. Okay? So if I'm looking at this with the end in mind, okay? Now, a little dramatic, the end meaning death, okay? I mean the end of your goal-setting journey. Okay, during this, what do you want to have? Okay, I remember Chanita, who was one of the top leaders in the world, said, I want to help 100 people make $100,000 a month. My goal is to help 100 families earn $100,000 a month. So it was always, she tied it to helping others because she knew, okay, if I help other people get what they want, my goals are done. Right? Have you ever figured out in whatever comp plan you're working in, if you helped 100 people earn $1,000, have you ever figured out what you would earn? Well, that would be $100,000, right? 100 people making 1,000, okay, would mean you're making 100,000. Normally, what you help other people make, you're making. So a lot of people will set their goals based on helping others. Okay, but I remember another good friend of mine, name was Jose Ardone. He says, if you want to be rich, if you want to help the poor, here's what he said, if you want to help the poor, don't be one of them. In other words, you got to take responsibility, right, for your actions. And I think I did this about a month ago, 2 months ago, right? Figure out your comp plan, what it would take for you to make X amount of money, and then go out there and execute that. Do you know what you have to do in your comp plan to make $100? See, it starts with 100. I know we think about the end in mind. I want to make $1 million, but can you teach people how to make 100? You got to understand the value of teaching people just that. Now watch what happens when you duplicate just teaching people how to make $100. Because if I could teach them how to make 100, I could teach them how to make 1,000. Because it's just taking their actions of what it took to make 100 times 10. So what you have to understand is when you think about your long-term goals and you hold yourself accountable on a daily basis to do everything that you're taught in your company, on Success Zone, or any development training that you're listening to, you got to be able to sell yourself and prove to yourself it works first. I told this story many times. One of the keys to our success in the industry was these radio ads, right? And we had a group advertising co-op. So we had this long-term idea with the end in mind. Okay, but Lisa and I both looked at ourselves and said, listen, before we roll this out, we need to take our money and buy a block of radio ads so we can understand what we're going to be telling other people to do. So we took $5,000 of our money and we bought some radio ads. And then we saw how the calls came in. We took our skill set, how to handle the calls, because the purpose of the call was not to go through the presentation. The purpose of the call was to book the appointment. That was the purpose. Now remember, this is 20 plus years ago where we didn't have the internet. We couldn't send people a video. We had to get them live. And then once we did that, we had to figure out, okay, out of the people that showed, what was our closing ratio? So that way, when I was out there selling the opportunity for people to get involved in our radio program, I could tell them what they could expect. And I knew if Alicia threw $1,000 in, people did this every month. They threw $1,000 in. I knew the cost of my lead was $50. Okay, so what would that mean? How many leads would Alicia get? 20, right? I think 20, yeah, 20 leads. So Alicia, out of 20 leads, here's what we could expect. We know out of 20, okay, you're gonna get about 12 shows because these were people calling. They wanted the information. And out of the 12 shows, right, if we do our job right, you could expect at least 2 to 3 new people to join your business, minimally. And then Alicia goes, okay, based on that, each new person I know could mean thousands of dollars a month to me. But I have to prove it before I can roll it out to other people. So when you begin with the end in mind, understand that's long-term goals. Now you got to reverse engineer it. Okay? Beginning with the end in mind is maybe your mission statement. We always talk about it. It could be your why. Why are you doing this? You all understand that. But once you have that in your mind, now, isn't it really about teaching people how to change? Isn't it really about showing people and getting people to believe enough in themselves where they could take their own journey? Just like raising kids, right? You don't raise your kids for them to stay with you their whole lives, even some would love to, right? No, you did it. You did it, right? Because you're going to take your skill set, and let's face it, we weren't born to be parents. How many mistakes do we make there? Oh my gosh, I shake my head sometimes, okay, of the mistakes that we made. But you know what? Your heart's right. And that's all it has to be right. It's not I'm going to be perfect. Getting involved with Lisa and I is not going to be a perfect journey, okay? But our heart is right. And we're going to put forth all the effort necessary because we have our goal set. And we're going to let them know it's going to be a journey. Hang on tight. Don't worry about it. And as long as people understand it, here we go again. We all are where we're supposed to be. And I believe that. Number 3, put first things first. To manage our lives effectively, we must keep our mission in mind, understand what's important as well as urgent, and maintain a balance between what we produce each day and our ability to produce in the future. Think of the former as putting out fires and the latter as personal development. Urgency, that's all this is. Daily urgency. Has to be, right? And that's one of the biggest problems in the industry that we're in, because we're in an industry, right, where no one else is watching a lot of the times, because this really has become a home-based industry. We all say it. You could work from your computer. But if I don't have daily goals and I don't hold myself accountable to my activity on a daily basis, man, it's amazing isn't it amazing how the weeks fly by? And do you guys understand it's going to be November? I'm like, I can't even talk. That means before you blink an eye, here's Christmas, and now we're in New Year's. Just like that. And it's amazing. You let a day go by, it turns into a week turns into a month. And now here's what people start to do. About this time of year, well, I'm really going to start really going at this in January. They're going to write off October, November, December, and they're going to go, you know what? All this stuff, I'm going to stay on Success Zone, but I'm really, really going to start in January. Why? See, if that... There's a whole nother thing here called procrastination. Because they know if they put first things first, you know what that means in our industry, guys? What's first here? Always. Talking to people. Sharing the opportunity. Doing presentations. Oh, but don't, Jeff, that's work. But if I'm putting together my plan and I'm getting ready to get ready, okay, I don't have to put first things first, right? I don't have to put out the fire. There's no fire here. That's another problem. In most cases, there's no fire. Well, guess what? In our household, there was always a fire. What does that mean? Because I had to pay my bills here. There was always a fire. It was a 4-alarm fire. Because if we didn't do things that day, right? Then the mortgage didn't get paid. If we didn't do things that day, the car payment was in jeopardy. There was always in fact, you got to create a fire. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. A lot of us are just on the ladder. Hey, this is cool. I'll just hang out here. Ooh, look at those flames. I'm above them. Oh, those poor people down there, man, they have urgency. Not me. I'm on the ladder. I'm away from the flames. No, you got to put yourself in the flames. That's the only way most people will be urgent, because the flame hitting your ass hurts, right? Oh my God, ooh, that hurt. But if you never get that fire, then all of a sudden maybe something disappears. Now what? Uh-oh, here's urgency again. No, don't wait for the fire. Just have your plan and put first things first. That's how you run your business. And it's amazing. Okay, I could tell you in 26 years, I'm telling you, we probably in these flames for 15 of those years. And even if there wasn't a flame, because we had a lot of money coming in, we still created that flame. What is it? Okay, well, the flame was understanding the long-term potential. I knew why I went to work every day. There was a flame because I had to pay the mortgage. And that's a lot of people's problem in our industry. It doesn't have to work. And it's amazing. If it does, those are your productive people. Normally, think win-win. Well, let me go back to the ladder, though, real quick. Okay, you got the urgency. The ladder is the ladder of leadership. And the ladder of leadership is personal development. And the personal development journey here is understanding you so you could then better understand others. Every single person on this call, okay, if I unmuted you and you told me your toughest moment or the biggest challenge, you can't faze me. I can help you through it. There's no doubt about it. I know that because I know what you're going through. Why? Because I've gone through it first and foremost, Lisa and I, but I've also been through it with my people. And that's when they need a big hug. That's when they need to say, calm down, relax. Right? A week, 2 weeks is not going to really make the big difference here. Okay, don't worry about it. This will pass. Oh, I'm telling you, it's not going to pass fast enough. Shh, relax. Come here. Come here. Come here. Stop it. No, 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 no. Right? No, no, no. Okay, here's my couple again. Look at, they're still here. There they are. I know you guys were wondering about them. They made a lot of money last week, by the way, these two. Okay? I don't know what they did, but they made some money. Anyway, that's the ladder. And then number 4, think win-win. Agreements or solutions among people can be mutually beneficial if all parties cooperate and begin with the belief in the third alternative, a better way that hasn't been thought of yet. Okay? This is collaboration. This is coming together with your team, right? This is all having a mission statement, okay? And maybe coming up with different ideas. Right? I never pretend to know everything. Okay, although we know a lot. Okay, we had core group. Okay, hey, tell us what you think. Well, we think we shouldn't have live presentations. Are we in agreement here? Great. Okay, let's go with it. And we think that maybe the comp should be changed this way. Okay, great. Making people feel part of. Now, as a leader, if there's an idea that maybe you know is not going to work, this is where you have to put yourself in and say, well, hang on a second. I have some experience here. So thinking win-win is just getting people to get out of their stinking thinking. Because most people don't think win-win. Okay, it's not part of them. But you got to get them in this habit. Number 5, seek first to be understanding, then to be understood. Seek first to be understanding, then to be understood. Listen, so you can then know how to be understood. Most people don't listen. This is from Stephen Covey, okay? And this book has been around for years. Okay, Think and Grow Rich says the same thing. Most people don't listen. Not really. They listen long enough to devise a solution to the speaker's problem or a rejoinder to what's being said. Then they dive into the conversation. In other words, they don't know the shot. They assume the shot. They don't listen. You'll be more effective in your relationship with people if you sincerely try to understand them fully before you try to make them understand your point of view. Now think about this. I mean, this right here, this is part of the 4 agreements. Oh my God, it's part of every agreement, this one. Okay, and this is the skill set. I need to understand what this person's going through, right, before I could give them the guidance. And when I'm listening, I got to listen for a couple of things. Where is this coming from? And I know if they're telling me and they're becoming vindictive, it's not personal. But if you take it personally, you're not gonna listen long enough. And this right here helps in every aspect of your business. It helps you in closing. It helps you in sharing the opportunity. It helps you in friendshipping. And this right here really makes you different. Because most people are not listened to. I just like to nod. And last night, I didn't say very much at all. I just let them talk. And I figured out very quickly, right, just by listening, what kind of money they've made in the past, the different opportunities. I listen on certain situations. Did they blame others for their failures or they take responsibility? See, I'm trying to figure out what I have. And I just listen very intently. Right, and I would glance over at the game and just listen, nod, ask some more questions. And they just kept talking and talking and talking. So understand, this right here is so important. We think we have to explain. We think we have to try to get them. No, they will get themselves if you listen long enough. And certain times during the conversation, I would say, so at that point, what you're telling me was, okay, the money you were making really had nothing to do, okay, with what you were doing. In other words, this person was starting to blame others. He goes, oh, no, I didn't really say that. I go, well, yeah, you kind of did. And then by the end of the conversation, right, he started to take responsibility. So I just want you to understand, people, if you listen long enough, will then give you everything. They'll serve it up to you of what they're really looking for. And then your job becomes very simple, to match the opportunity that you all have to what they're looking for. You don't have to guess what they're looking for when you listen. Okay? Number 6, synergize. Just what it sounds like. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. In practice, this means you must use creative cooperation in social interactions. Value differences because it's often the clash between them that leads to creative solutions. Okay? This goes back to number 4. Synergize. This is as you build a team. Right? Create that camaraderie. Some of you aren't there yet. That's okay. That's okay. Everybody starts with themselves. Okay? And this is where you start to get out of just when you recruit, you stop using that word and you start using the word sponsor. Because if I sponsor them, I make them feel part of. If I'm always recruiting, they feel like, oh my God, I was just another number for them. What's next? Remember, I recruit to sponsor. Right? I got to recruit to really sponsor the right person. So I got to figure out really quickly. You guys know how to do that now. Okay, I recruited Alicia. Alicia, first step, do this, and this. If she does it, okay. She now betters her chances for me to sponsor her. She betters her chances, not me. I told her what to do. If she does it, I then sponsor her because she's willing, she has a desire, whatever that was. But do I have to recruit to sponsor? You know how many people I have recruited? But you know how many people I've really sponsored? About 1/3 of the people that I recruited, I really sponsored. So in other words, if I recruited 100, I only really sponsored 33. Because the other 66 didn't do it. But the 33, I created synergy with. I created camaraderie with. I created loyalty. See, loyalty to me is everything. Loyalty. And then you create this, and these are the people that you build relationships with. And out of the 33, right, you're going to have about 3 to 5 good lines of business. You know the numbers, guys. We've taught this many times. But how many people here have a plan to go out there and recruit 100? Right? We say recruit 40, right? In 6 months. I'm talking about 100. 100 people, right? In 12 to 18 months. You'll get synergy, trust me. And that goes back to what? Putting first things first. If I'm in the fire and I have urgency every minute of every day, okay, I know I'm going to recruit a lot of people. And if I'm recruiting a lot of people, I'll be able to create my synergy. But if there's never urgency and there's never a fire and you're always on the ladder, you see what happens? Number 7, sharpen the saw. Okay? This is the habit of self-renewal, which has 4 elements. The first is mental, which includes reading, visualization, planning, and writing. Right? That goes back to the beginning. Mentally sitting down. Why am I doing this? Visualizing. Am I going to commit to this? Having my why, having my conversations with my family, planning. Okay, and I'm not going to be in the planning stage for very long. I have to make my decision, and then I got to make my decision to go all in based on what I'm willing to go all in with. Don't compare yourself here. If you really can't go all in, okay, then just hold yourself accountable to what you say you're going to do. That's all. The second is spiritual, which means value clarification and commitment, study and meditation. And I got to be honest with you, okay? This is something that, okay, spiritual, yes, okay? I grew up Catholic, okay? But as far as study and meditation, not too big on that. I got to work on that, actually. Okay, maybe that's something I got to work on. I know Lisa's loves to, meditate. She does her yoga. Okay, but to me, it's really for you. If this means something to you, then you got to hold in. Obviously, it's important. But I'm looking at what I need to do. Third is social emotional, which stress management includes service, empathy, synergy, and intrinsic security. Where's my speech pathologist? There she is. Okay. Now, watch this. Social emotional. Man, when you're dealing with people consistently, this is why, and some of you, this might not hit home, but I was told when we started to really build, Jeff, you got to get away every 4 to 6 weeks. You got to get away every 4 to 6 weeks to regroup. I don't care if you're just going away for 2 or 3 days, but if you're going to run like you want, like you're running, you can't keep it up. You got to take care of Jeff. And you and Lisa got to regroup and re-energize. Now, you know how we used it? Remember I told you we used to go to Dallas every month for 14 years? That's where we regrouped a lot of the times. Now, we took vacations, of course, but that was our time to just sit down and go, okay, let's evaluate the last 4 to 6 weeks because we were running hard. Okay, the schedule that we kept, a lot of people just shake their head at, but we made a lot of money. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is here, right, there's a lot of emotion in dealing with people. A lot of emotion. Because that's the very reason they're changing. You got that, right? It's emotional. You know how many times we sat down when Lisa had kitchen table time with people? And I would come back and she's doing her thing and just in tears. People just in tears because Lisa was getting it out of them. Why are you doing this? What's up? I recruited you great. Now I want to get to know you. And then all of a sudden, here comes the emotion. Now you know you've hit the why with these people. This is where you create desire. This is where you find out what you got. Very emotional. I go to this place after the gym, Yahoo's Fish Tacos. Okay, and I'm having my whatever I'm eating. Okay, I love carnitas. Okay, I have my carnitas bowl, and I'm listening to the bartender. This is yesterday, and this person was pouring out to the bartender, because no one else listens to him. You know this about bartenders, right? People tell them everything. I was listening to everything. Person's getting emotional, starts crying. Bartenders, coming around, rubbing the person's back. Okay, person said, something about his wife and they're having trouble, blah, 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 blah. People want to be heard. A lot of people are in pain. And when you're able to listen, right, and give them and empathetic, this is what pulls people closer to you. This is sharpening the saw. I'm just going to get this person in. Okay, now what? Now what? You just made immediate income. Who cares if you got them in? What did you catch? Can I build with this person? Well, I got to find out. This is why we always have people over to our homes. Always. Going out to dinner. We were all things to all people. You got to be. Finally, the physical. Okay, don't get me started. Okay, you know the whole deal. If I'm not right, nothing else is going to be right. And remember, this is 7 habits. The physical includes exercise, nutrition, and stress management. I was telling the guys last night, food is a drug. I was watching what they were eating. They were eating everything that was a carb. Everything. Okay, both need to lose a little weight. Well, one needs to lose a lot of weight. And I said, right there, he goes, oh, I'm so tired. I go, we just ate like an animal. Look what you ate. Quesadilla, then he had some pasta, then he had a sandwich, bread, sugar, sugar, sugar. So as he was eating it, he felt good. 10 minutes afterwards, he was almost sleeping. I go, that's a drug. Do you exercise? I walk one. That's a no. And we just start talking. Because I'm so stressed out. I go, it starts with you, brother. Now, I'm not here to, if he wants to listen, great. But he was asking, okay, what do you do? I go, I work out every day. He goes, why do you take the bread off your sandwich? I go, because that's carbs. I always take the bread off. At least one of the buns. And I try to watch. Now I have my cheat days. You all know what my cheat day is? I think I told you 10 times. It's one large pizza and no one else touches it. That's my cheat day. One large just for Papa. Just me. Lisa looks at it. I go, don't even look at it. I don't want to don't even look at a pepperoni. That's mine. And she knows that's my cheat day. Okay? But the rest of the time, I try to watch what we eat. Because I know I feel much better. This new thing now, fasting, right? Intermittent fasting, the new craze. Lisa's been doing it for about 6 months. She goes, it just cleans you out. It feels so good. I said, oh my God, that's going to be a tough one for me. But okay, but it resets your body. So there's certain things that you can do. Do you like that, Sonia? Like that little interaction there? Okay. Anyway. All right. Now those are the 7 habits. Those are the 7 habits. Okay. And we will be reconvening on Friday. This has been recorded. Hopefully this maybe hit some people. Okay. But every day, guys, stay on the ladder. This is the ladder. But don't just stay on the ladder. You got to create your fire. Okay, and when you create the fire, then all of a sudden things start to change. I appreciate all of you always, and we'll talk very soon. Bye.